Heroquest is the best game ever made, and anyone who says otherwise is wrong. The best thing about Heroquest is the miniatures, made in the glory days before Games Workshop had been destroyed from within. There is not an inch of pretentious overcomplexity about them. Any man can tell what they are from 500 yards away, and I know this because I've tested it with a team of Russian ex-Soviet scientists. Because they weren't destroyed by idiotic oversculpting, many a young lad got their start in miniature painting, making their first delicate steps with these fine figures. Never mind that one, I ruined that one. Never mind any of that. The best thing about Heroquest is the gargoyle. It is the finest miniature in the land. Compared to this is rubbish, this is brilliant, this is an abomination, this is a gargoyle. When a young lad saw this miniature, do you know what he said? He said, "Ooh, I've got to get in on that Heroquest action." And he was right. The best thing about Heroquest is this tiny furniture. It is unequalled in all the realm. Anyone who owns this furniture but doesn't use it every chance they get, even in unrelated games, is a fool. I myself have begun replacing all of my furniture with Heroquest furniture. Even the doors. Oh no, Mormons! The best thing about Heroquest is the cards. What you see before you is the exact optimum number of cards required to play a heroic adventure game. No more, no less. Why, just the other month I was playing in the local international poker tournament, and when it came time to reveal my hand, bam! Heroic brew! And I took home all the winnings, because after all, who's gonna argue? The best thing about Heroquest is the board. Look at its beautiful, vibrant colours and its perfect square-ish shape. Oh yes, there was never any doubt as to how much space a game of Heroquest was going to take up, was there? No, sir. But what do modern games give us? Oh, they're obsessed with modular dungeon tiles, and that's terrible. Half the time it's a complete disaster as the dungeon immediately veers off the nearest table edge. The other half the time it expands into a colossal labyrinth far larger than any reasonable table owned by mortal men. Play it on the floor, you might say. Well, what about people with back, neck and face problems? You didn't think of that, did you? The best thing about Heroquest is the quest book, jam-packed with cracking sword and sorcery scenarios, each more different than the last, and none more different than the dreaded blank map, which is used to make your own deadly scenarios. Of course, the only natural response to this is to put a monster in every square, as is the right and privilege of every Heroquest owner. The best thing about Heroquest is the box art. Look at it. Magnificent. Painted by the great fantasy illustrator Les Edwards. And it features grand prominence in this particular art book of the man. And well it should, for it is, without doubt, the best piece of art he ever produced. Now, in the 90s he did argue against that point, but he was quickly shouted down by key luminaries of the era, such as Prince, Bob Hawke, and Reggie Bennett. So it turns out that this was a cracking reboxing all along. But is a single reboxing enough to cover the grand majesty of Heroquest? No, sir. No, it is not. And that means it's time for another cracking unboxing of Heroquest. Let's get started. Well, the best thing about Heroquest is the inside of the box. Look at these cracking instructions for heroic miniature assembly. What with their clear pictures and words, by God. When I was a lad assembling these miniatures, I would have terrible nightmares about an apocalyptic time when highly convoluted miniatures, much more so than this, would come with instructions without words at all, and terrible, grainy little pictures, and only the loosest interpretation of the word instructions. Oh, it's a good thing that never came to pass. The best thing about Heroquest is this cracking screen. Not only is it covered with blistering artwork, it is also the finest perch in all the land from which to drop falling rocks on unsuspecting fools in unrelated games. It also prominently features the gargoyle. You can't even tell what this is. This is a gargoyle. The best thing about Heroquest is the Broad-soad.
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 Fire of wrath.
The best thing about Heroquest is rolling to move, and you might roll your eyes at this, but it really adds to the drama. Will I trip on a flagstone, or leap heroically into battle? Let's find out. Well, the best thing about Heroquest is ignoring the roll to move rule. It was clearly only included for the junior set, more used to playing snakes and ladders, and not really intended for true masters of the game. The best thing about Heroquest is the combat dice. No finer set of dice have ever been made in any kingdom. These dice also represent the essential binary which encapsulates all evil beasts in this game. The monsters are either dead or alive. And the symbol of evil looks like a bunny rabbit if you turn it upside down. And that's why you'll hear veterans call them the bunny rabbit dice. Adorable bunny, symbol of immortal evil. The best thing about Heroquest is the Barbarian. Look at the muscularity. You are the Barbarian, the greatest warrior of all. And they're not kidding, he throws 3 combat dice on attack by default. Not even the gargoyle can stand up to that. And that's without needing to get the Broad-soad.
Broad-soad.
A Barbarian, best character in the game by a long shot, and you should all go play as him immediately. Right, now that the peasantry have gone, the best thing about Heroquest is the dwarf. Ah yes, the Barbarian, strictly for beginners. He is in fact easy mode. True aficionados of Heroquest and masters of the game choose the dwarf. The best thing about Heroquest is the expansions, which you should immediately discard, because the only true way to expand Heroquest is with more Heroquest. It's the only way you can experience such cracking custom scenarios as the dreaded Fortress O' Peril and Gravity Land. And that's why Heroquest is so great.